This week's episode of The Graveyard Shift is brought to you by Amy H. Amy is a fan and she suggested this week's featured movie on our Facebook page. Thank you very much for the movie, Amy. It is a great one and I am so happy that I get to talk about it. It is one of my all-time faves. Honestly, I just want to take a moment to thank all of our listeners. We have been receiving a ton of messages, emails, and Facebook posts for movie suggestions, compliments, friendly chats, and friendly criticism, which we also welcome. Seriously, people, we really do appreciate it. It is awesome to know how many of you are loving the show. Love to you all. I just want to give all of you a big hug. Okay, enough of that sentimental crap. Let's get started. I am your host, Sheldon, and this is The Graveyard Shift, horror with Sheldon and Mike. Music, please. Welcome to episode 7 of the Graveyard Shift Horror Podcast, where each week we watch a movie from the horror category and tell you all the interesting stuff you need to know. Stuff like what we liked, what we didn't like, some plot details, some production stuff, plus any other bonus info we think is interesting. And yes, I said we because nobody wants to talk about a horror movie alone. That'd be stupid. So please say hello to our very own Sumerian demon, my co-host, Mike.
Hello.
Mike, glad to hear you. Honestly, I thought this past week you might die.
No, I only feel like it every time I cough.
You were pretty sick, dude.
Oh yeah, I edited the Playing with Power podcast on Sunday and just thought, okay, I can only do one part, then I gotta go to bed because the room is spinning. And I'm gonna finish it up next so that I'll have like a nice buffer. And then I woke up today and I'm like, oh shit, yesterday was like 4 days ago.
Yep.
I need to put out part 2 like this afternoon right now.
Yeah, I literally thought you were going to back out. I was starting to get a little nervous, folks. I thought this might end up being a solo Sheldon show.
And I was
worried today.
And so. I was worried that he'd realize he could do this without me.
Like I said, like nobody wants to talk about a horror movie by themselves. That would suck. So, well, glad to see you're on the mend. That's good. It's a big relief. But of course, you might hear some coughing coming from Mike every once in a while. But you know, gotta give him a little bit of slack. He can't help it. Well, Mike, I'm really glad to see that everything's coming along for you because we got a great movie this week. I cannot wait to tear into it. So why don't you let everybody know what this week's episode's all about?
Today's episode is Booooooks on tape because we watched The Evil Dead.
Did we ever? Oh, one of my all-time favorites. This was actually a fan pick, like I said in the intro, the fan pick by Amy H. She asked us to cover this one. Amy says this is not only her favorite horror movie, but her most favorite movie of all time, and that is very badass. So thank you very much for that, Amy. So, Mike, I think are we on a streak of good movies?
Yeah, I'm kind of worried for the other... for the bad penny to drop.
Yeah, I'm afraid that this means that we've got like something very shitty coming up. But anyway,
someone stepping on the karmic hose and just waiting for the burst.
No, this is good because I mean, like we've we've only had one movie so far, and I know we haven't been doing this long. This is only episode 7, but I can honestly say we've only had one movie that I would consider bad. Cemetery Man was kind of on the fence, but Cemetery Man, other than Cemetery Man and
Hollow Mountain,
Beast of Hollow Mountain, the rest were quality.
Yeah.
So, and Evil Dead, I mean, this without a doubt, my favorite of what we've done so far. I cannot wait to talk about this one, so let's start talking.
All right.
Evil Dead was released in 1981 by New Line Cinema, directed, of course, by Sam Raimi, who went on to a very successful directing career. I'm pretty sure most people are familiar with his other works.
He was the guy that made and then subsequently ruined Spider-Man.
Yeah, he still got that big Spider-Man paycheck. He's fine.
Yeah.
It stars Bruce Campbell, of course, and a few other people that are just not important. All you need to know is that Bruce Campbell's in it. He's gone on to do a lot of things, including writing 2 books, starred in several things, but it doesn't matter what else he's done. To Evil Dead fans, he's always going to be Ash. And yeah, that's all you need to know about that. So did I ever tell you I met Evil... did I met Evil Dead? Did I met Bruce Campbell?
Well, congratulations on surviving the Evil Dead and not having your soul swallowed.
I met Evil Dead, yeah. That's... God.
Oh, my God.
I need to stop drinking before we record.
So when you played Legend of Zelda, how did you enjoy playing Zelda? Since this is how you separate things.
Yeah, apparently so.
So how was Bruce? Like, besides being awesome and funny?
Well, when I say met, of course, it was just one of those Comic-Con photo op things, so you literally get like 10 seconds. But even those 10 seconds were really cool. I walk in, he's just standing there with like the most ridiculous looking jacket. It looked like he just got a sports jacket made out of a plaid tablecloth. So I walk in, and right away, I had no idea what I was going to say. I mean, I'm meeting, like, horror royalty right there. So the only thing I could blurt out was I look at him as I'm walking in, hold up my hand, and I say, "How you doing, you primitive screwhead?" And the guy didn't miss a beat. He looks at me with, like, his little, like, half smile. And he says, "Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants." And so he goes... He puts his arm around my shoulder and pulls me to the side, and he goes like, "So, how do you want to do this?" And I said, "Cheesiest pose you can think of. Whatever's the cheesiest pose you can think of, just do that." And he goes, "Okay, finger guns?" And I say, "Finger guns it is." So that's our picture, me and Bruce Campbell standing side by side, just pointing at the camera, doing finger guns.
I think we need to put that up as one of the interim posts once this goes up.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'll get this picture posted so you can laugh at me looking so awkward next to Bruce Campbell.
I think no matter how awkward you are, just being near Bruce Campbell just ameliorates all of it. Yeah. It's still pretty awesome. Like, any of my family members or friends that are fans of Evil Dead, it's like, as soon as it comes up, I was like, "Oh, I got to show you this picture." So yeah, pretty cool. And so Evil Dead, I mean, what can you say about it? It is insanely popular. It went on to inspire 2 sequels, a few video games, a remake, a TV show, and a very successful musical, all of which are awesome, and I highly recommend any of them. Seriously, anything involving Evil Dead, check it out. Okay, musical?
Oh, come on, you're not going to tell me you've never heard of Evil Dead the musical?
No.
What?
I played the Evil Dead video game, loved it.
Yeah, there's been several Evil Dead video games, but I can't believe... Oh, I cannot allow this tragedy to go on. You'd never even heard of it? Really?
No, I mean, like, was this, like, direct-to-DVD, or was it on
No,
Broadway,
it's like a stage... It's a stage play.
Well, shit, I mean, how many stage plays do I get to go to? Come on.
I've been to 2.
I'm in Ottawa.
One of them was Evil Dead the musical. No, this was a big deal. This was like a Broadway musical. It was touring all over North America for a while. It was like sold out shows everywhere.
Oh my God! Was there a song called "Swallow Your Soul"?
No, it's just called Evil Dead Musical. It had some great songs. One of them, I'm not even screwing around here. One of the songs in the show was called "What the Fuck Was That?" it was kind of a tango between Ash and Scotty.
Oh my god. What the fuck? I said, what the fuck was that? What the fuck?
I'm gonna have to just YouTube it sometime. Like, look for some scenes. It is amazing.
We're putting this up along in another interim post. This must be shared. I cannot be the only one to discover
when you go
this.
to any type of sports game, you can get the foam fingers with your team name.
Oh
or
my
just
god,
like number one, whatever.
A foam chainsaw.
I went there. What did I buy when I went there? I had I had a foam chainsaw. The show has a splatter zone where they inform you if you're in certain sections, you're going to get covered in blood.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it's like Gallagher.
I can't believe, sure, and we were in the balcony, it wasn't a huge theater, so no matter where you were, your seats were decent, but yeah, everybody in the first 5 rows were all wearing ponchos, and they were just drenched.
Wow.
It's so good. You need to look it up. I can't believe that you don't know about this.
I'm
literally waiting for it to come back.
Figure out. It took me years to find out about Avenue Q. Come on.
So
we don't get the big Broadway circuit like you got in Brampton.
We had to go to Toronto for that, but Toronto was half an hour away. So
oh, lucky you! It's 5 hours if we're burning to the speed limit. Until we get a Hyperloop. Toronto might as well be friggin' Minnesota.
I got to see it again. Once it comes back here, I want to see it again because it's worth it. My wife even said that she may have enjoyed the musical more than the actual movie.
I don't know, I figured it would either be a foam chainsaw or a foam deadite hand.
Oh, it's great. It's absolutely. But anyway, back on topic. So this had a budget of $90,000, making it by far the lowest budget movie we've covered. Most of this budget was raised by a short film called Within the Woods. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Mike.
Yep.
Yeah, so Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, they made this short film called Within the Woods. If you've watched it, it's low budget's not even how to the words you use to describe it.
It's no budget.
It literally is no budget, and but definitely had some signs of. There's some elements of Evil Dead in there. You can see how Evil Dead evolved from this. They made this film and actually managed to sell it to some drive-through theaters. Drive-through theaters. What the fuck is a drive-through theater? Drive-in theaters.
That was a good 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Whoa, that girl's showing her boobs. Beep beep. Oh fuck, I gotta go. Okay, buddy, it's your turn.
So yeah, they sold it to some drive-through theaters.
The drive-through theater was the late 70s version of Vine videos.
So they actually would play this sometimes before the main feature or between some of the features. They used the money that they raised with the short to fund Evil Dead. And amazingly, with that budget, The Evil Dead had a theatrical run that earned $2.6 million.
Pretty damn good.
That is huge for what's considered such a low production. The Evil Dead franchise in total has made more than $200 million worldwide. That is pretty fucking cool.
Absolutely.
And the original Evil Dead got praised by horror master Stephen King as one of the best horror movies ever. So, right there, praise from the king.
That's a seal of approval if I've ever heard one.
That's pretty much the seal of approval. Right there. So, as for the plot, 5 college students go to an isolated cabin in a remote wooded area after they find and play an audio tape with an incantation that releases demons capable of possessing humans. Gory mayhem ensues. So, pretty simple plot, and nothing original by today's standards, of course. In 1981, it was a little less heard of. But yeah, so Mike, before we get into our likes and dislikes, without giving away too many details, what do you think of Evil Dead? What's your opinion?
It's a damn solid movie by a bunch of unknown people on their first attempt, just laying it down and delivering great drama, fear, isolation, with a little gratuity on the gore, but all in all, a very solid first move for all these guys, showing them that, they got what it takes right out the gate.
Yeah, for sure. To me, it's like you definitely like the underdog type of story, and they hit it out of the fucking park, because this movie is, like, I would call it legendary. A prime example of what creative people can do with limited funds. I can't say enough good things about it. And I'm not saying that it's perfect. I mean, there's definitely some things that, when watching it, even from the first time I've watched it, and I don't even know. I would not be able to fathom a guess of how many times I've watched this movie. I've bought this movie literally 5 times. I bought it on VHS in like the mid 90s, I guess was about the first time I saw it. They just had like a new video release, which they updated the cover. Bruce Campbell actually posed for a new like cover shot of the for the movie. I bought it for the first time like that on VHS. I bought it again on VHS. I found an old copy in an old video store and bought it. So like it was one of the originals. I bought it twice on DVD and once on Blu-ray. So yeah, wow. They've taken my money. So yeah, so with that, all that being out of the way, like, I'm just gonna gush all over this. It's just so good. Should we just dive right straight into the likes?
Yeah, might as well.
All right.
Okay, you got to meet Bruce, so I think that gives you the pedigree to go first.
Okay. So first is a pretty simple one. One of the things I loved about this movie was the atmosphere that they created. The dark, foggy woods, isolated cabin. Like I said, nothing original now, but something that wasn't an old idea back when they started filming this thing. It really gets you even before the demon possession starts. Sam Raimi's camera work contributes to that immensely. There's a reason why Evil Dead is the essential cabin in the woods movie. It just has this charm that automatically makes you like it.
Oh yeah, good credits. Like right off the bat, it's already got was it the one with like red dripping credits?
Oh my god, I've watched this movie so many times. I should know what the credits look like.
I know the studio had that, or like the studio had that logo. But yeah, as soon as it shows the logo, then the camera starts taking off, and you got like this thing. So it's not like the camera's going like, oh, let's take a nice jaunt through the forest. Like, it's automatically like knowing that the camera is being controlled by this force. Like, we are watching the world through its eyes right off the bat.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's no slow build up in this movie. That's for sure.
And
there's no it doesn't start with the kids in there at a college campus and like planning the trip or anything like that. It's
like 20 minutes of them like doing dorm life and getting a call from their parents and going to the grocery store and like meeting some like creepy old locals and just like burning film. No, it's like within like this is my like within like within like 20 seconds. The shaky cam starts doing its work. Then 2 minutes in, the steering wheel gets grabbed by the evil. And by 8 minutes, we get to see it possessing people and already screwing with the victims in the cabin. So this doesn't waste time, and that's a big pair of thumbs up from me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that was great. Like, and some people have argued that there was no character development in this movie, and I mean, really, there's not, because it dives in. You don't know anything about these kids. You just see a car driving along a country road, with these college kids in it, and like you said, you see like the first signs of the demon. Well, from the disembodied demon point of view, with the shaky cam, which is Sam Raimi really loves that shaky cam. But yeah, it throws you right in there. There's no character development, and you don't need it because these people are going to start feeling the effects of the demons pretty soon. All right, so should I continue?
Yeah, because like I already gave my like, so you can follow up with your.
Okay, well, you knew this was coming. The effects. So good, and like so many other parts of this movie, you can tell it's very low budget, but that actually makes it better. Like, these things were just whatever they could think of to make it. They actually, like, during the filming of the movie, perfected their own formula for fake blood, which the recipe Bruce Campbell shared in one of the books, the first book he wrote, If Chins Could Kill. And that's what I've used pretty much every Halloween since. Just break out that book, look up the formula for fake blood, and just make like a bucket of this stuff. It looks great. It's whatever you get it on, forget it. Throw it. Any clothing you get it on, throw it away because it's not coming out. But just a couple of highlights. I mean, I could go on about the effects, but just a couple of highlights for me. Cheryl's dismemberment. She wasn't the first one to get possessed. I think she was the second, right?
Yeah.
She's Scotty's girlfriend.
The first one is the sister.
Yeah. So she's the second person to get possessed. Scotty takes an axe and just starts wailing on her possessed body. Just starts hacking limbs off, and man, it is brutal.
Oh yeah, good camera work on that one.
Oh yeah, and like you actually see, like, you know, makes me cringe, especially one scene where he's just hacking at her. You see her leg on the ground, and then there's just like the axe just like drives through her ankle.
Oh.
And like you hear bones cracking. It's just nuts. And then you get to see her completely dismembered body afterwards, still twitching and writhing.
Oh yeah, like she's not dead, she's just not a threat anymore.
Yeah. And then this really got me. I love this. At the end of the movie, the stop motion animation results in Ash getting just covered in a gloppy mess. It reminded me of a Tool video. And just loved it. The work that these guys put into this movie is just unbelievable because they had to do everything. They were playing all the parts when it came to the production. So, yeah. So what do you got next?
Okay, well, the tree scene, I got it as a like because it's a good excuse to get Ellen Sandwise to show her goods. And it's a good excuse to hit that pause button. But it was like a great, like, I had... It was hard to put that down as a like or dislike. It seemed like a little gratuitous. Like, it's an interesting concept for sure.
It wasn't hard for me. That scene immediately went to my dislike pile.
Yeah, it was just like, you know, nice attempt, but, you know, anytime you throw that into a movie, it's like, really, is that like your go-to for showing? Like, it's bad enough to get killed by something in the woods, but. To think it's just like, no, let's get a taste, hot lips, or it's like, you got to get creepy.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, you know, with having a beautiful woman show some skin. Like, people certainly do appreciate it, but to me, there's good ways of doing it, and then there's good ways of doing it. You know, more classy ways. There's sleazy ways of doing it, and then there's just wrong ways of doing it. And yeah, I'll get more into that later on, but
yeah, maybe I'll strike that from the like list. It was like, again, like I was blinded by like, oh well, like it's the only time we get to see anything, so you know, like it's kind of like I like where we got. I'm just not very comfortable how we got there. And
I remember when the first time I saw this movie, a group of us were watching it one of my female friends, and yeah, she actually she was like, "Oh, I don't like where this is going." And as soon as she said, "I don't like where this is going," that's when the notorious scene, the notorious moment happened, and she actually squealed. She squealed, got up, and actually walked away from the TV and put her head against the wall and covered her ears until that scene was over. I'm like, yep, that's the reaction I would expect for any lady watching this movie to have.
Yeah, it's
But anyway, we'll get into
it is that. It's not a feminist friendly scene.
It's definitely not.
Okay, so I guess I'll replace that with the second one where Ash is a good brother. Like, instead of doing any mansplaining like Scotty does, he just he sees that his sister is distressed and immediately sets off to take her into town. Not that it happens, but he actually is a good protective brother who respects her fear and tries to make it right with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. Ash was a much nicer guy than Scotty, because Scotty was a bit of a dick.
Oh yeah. So what was your next like?
Well, going back to Bruce Campbell, Bruce Campbell as Ash. Now, in this first movie, he's not the Ash that we come to know later on in the series. But towards the end, you're starting to see that survival instinct is just starting to show. And, I mean, while Ash is certainly, Bruce Campbell is certainly not going to be walking away with any Oscars or anything. But he just does a good job. He's just got this thing about him where no matter what role he's in, even though he is a cheesy actor and he's he's the king of the B movie actors, he just nails it every single time. Even in this was probably, of all the roles I've seen him in, this was probably his shakiest. He's not very experienced yet, but still, the scenes when anytime he's being attacked, he really looks like he's being tortured. He conveys it very well.
Who knows? Maybe Raimi was taking a few lessons from Kubrick.
Maybe.
All right, Bruce, this is take 75. Let's see if you can get it this time so we can all actually go home. Why are you talking to me like it's my fault, Sam?
Yeah, so Ash is definitely a character that evolves over the series, but I like this. This very innocent, soft-spoken Ash was...
Well, it shows character development.
It does, for sure. Okay, so how about you? Anything else for your likes list?
I do like the when it says when Linda is just sitting on the floor doing that creepy child sing-song stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's that was just creepy as hell without her actually attacking him.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was also when Scotty comes in. We never get to see what happens to Scotty, but he just comes back and he is fucked up. Well, apparently the woods also gave him the same treatment as Ash's sister.
I was about to say, maybe he got raped by a tree as well.
It's in cabin in the woods, tulips tiptoe through you.
Yep.
Pretty sure that's what happened to Scotty.
Yeah, you don't get to see what happens to Scotty. He leaves, he's going to leave, and then he comes back all messed up. But you can imagine he suffered the same fate as Linda. No, not Linda. Cheryl.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm such an idiot. I can't keep anyone's name straight. I know Scotty and Ash. I know the names. There's Linda, which is Bruce or Ash's girlfriend.
Yeah, Cheryl, his sister.
Cheryl is his sister. What is Scotty's girlfriend's name? I think I called her Cheryl earlier when I was talking about her being dismembered.
Yeah, Cheryl, Linda.
What the hell is wrong with me? I was just talking about I've seen this movie probably a billion times or something. And...
Oh, yeah. And another thing I liked, with camera work, when Ash was running through the room with the shotgun, and he runs over the camera, and it just flips to follow him. But yet somehow, and I'm still trying to figure this out, when the camera flipped, he wasn't upside down. It's like the camera wasn't knocked upside down. Like it righted it. I don't know if they put a gyroscope in the lens or something, but it managed to stay focused on Ash in the proper orientation as it went upside down.
Yeah, you're right. That's because he runs straight at the camera. He actually the way it looks like it almost looks like he jumps over something's on the floor, like some piece of furniture or something like that. But it's actually the camera. And you're right. Nothing is askew or like, because I'm thinking about if I'm filming this, say I'm laying on the floor with the camera, you run towards me and jump over me, and I just turn and like keep filming you. After you jump over me, the shot should be upside down.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty cool. These guys, inventive camera work for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna like burn through my likes because
go for it.
And like again, excellent camera work. And when Scotty comes in after being deliveranced by the forest, Ash sits him on the couch and says like, you're gonna be fine, Scotty. As we can see, bones are sticking out of his skin.
Yeah.
Like we can see like his arm is sticking out through his wrist. And he's telling him, you're going to be fine. It's like, it's obvious, like, if he is not already dead, he's got about, like, 2 minutes of life left in him.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
And also, Ash just losing his mind as the house turns into Wonderland on him.
It is pretty crazy. I love that 80s effect of the mirror turning into water.
Oh, that was... It's like... And his freak out after he puts his hand through the mirror instead of thinking like, you know what? It's a friggin' wall of water. I'm going to take my damn chances because this cabin is fucked. But instead he just like looks at his hand and he's like, you've been through the mirror.
That's the part that freaked him out, right?
Yeah. You think like if he like stuck his face through the mirror and then he could be screaming like, what the hell did he see? Like that would have been like a better thing to freak the hell out at.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally the ending. Although like it does kind of turn into a dislike because like as he destroys the book and you think, well, that deals with the evil. And no, it's just like another MacGuffin, just like the knife. You think, oh, this thing is like important. No, it's not. The evil still exists, and the knife doesn't actually kill anybody.
Yep. Yeah, the knife. I got a few things to say about that knife in a little bit, but actually, just one thing to say about the knife. But anyway, yeah, that ending, man. How long would you have survived in that situation?
Well, I definitely wouldn't have made the same mistakes as some of them did. Like chaining up that drawer, chaining up that basement thing. I would have Yeah, the first thing I would have done is like, let's just pile some things on top of it as well, because, you know, that chain is probably not going to hold, because we're fighting demons that can throw people through walls.
Yeah, that's,
And yeah, there were cases like where Ash, like as soon as he kills Linda, we think like, oh, he's finally going to smarten up because we see him chain her up in the shed to make sure she can't wriggle. And then he whips up the chainsaw and we're just like, you know, Ash, this hurts, but you're doing the right thing. And then he's just like, oh, but I gave her that silly necklace with the magnifying lens. Oh, I can't chop her up. I'm just going to bury her whole body in the woods, especially since we've already seen that we need to chop these things up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, surprise, she attacks him.
Yep. Big shock there. But yeah, it's, the beating that Ash takes at the, towards the end, say like the last, 10 minutes of the movie.
He should not be standing.
No, especially the last one of the last scenes in the movie, he's getting beaten with a fire poker across the spine. I might add. So
yeah, he should not be standing on those shredded legs, and then he should be crawling out since his spine has obviously been shattered.
Yeah. Not the worst beating that Ash that Ash takes throughout the series. You can believe that, but yeah. So all in all, like, I think we've got a good list of likes. I don't like to do this to Evil Dead, but should we talk about some things we didn't like about it?
Oh, sure. I mean, fair's fair.
Yeah, fair play. I mean, as much as I love this movie, like, I recommend this to anybody. Like, I'd give this movie 5 stars all day. That doesn't mean that there's not some things about it that bug me. So I'm going to start off with my dislikes. Some things about this movie are a little inconsistent when it comes to the abilities of the demons. I think you might know where I'm going with this, because you were talking about a scene where after Cheryl, right? Ash's sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Whew, got one right. Okay, so after Cheryl's attacked in the woods, and Ash is going to bring her into town, they find out that he can't get into town because the only bridge leading into town has been destroyed. And I mean, not just, it's blocked or anything like this. The thing is annihilated. Pieces of metal are all bent up. And it makes me think, like, okay, so these demons, obviously, I mean, we saw at the beginning of the movie, they can do some physical things because they grab the steering wheel in the car, almost pull them off the road. They make Cheryl, draw a picture of the Necronomicon. They have the abilities to smash windows. They open the cellar door. So they can do some physical things. So I guess, why do they have to possess people?
Well,
if they have a desire to possess people, if they've got the power to go and rip a bridge apart, why not just go to the cabin and rip the top off the cabin and just possess them?
Yeah, there's like a lot of inconsistencies with, like, how the hell is anybody supposed to protect or safeguard themselves? Like, are there any smart decisions that you can do? Like, my first dislike is it's a converse to the first like, where we get to see the evil driving through the forest and all that. It's like, okay, so how is it yanking steering wheels before the Necronomicon gets red? Because we see it getting unleashed, but I'm like, hold on, we already saw it going through the forest, so what the fuck?
Yeah, like, they're already interacting with the physical world. So does the reading of the book just give them, like, the powers to possess people?
It's like, before then they can only possess Buick Skylarks.
Yeah,
for 2 seconds.
That was weird. That's an inconsistency, and it was one of the things that I thought of. Like, I'm so glad to be able to talk about this, because this is one of the things I thought of right from this very first time I watched this movie. So, yeah. So, you got another one of something you didn't like?
Oh, I got like 3 or more.
I got a few too, but I got a feeling we're going to have some that are the same, so you go for it.
Okay, well, we're introduced to several items, like the Book of the Dead and the Kandarian dagger. It's a sick-ass dagger with bones and tiny skulls set for the hilt. It looks amazing, and you just think, oh, this is either going to be used to great evil, or it's the only thing that can ward off the evil. Like, there's got to be a reason the book and the knife are together. Like, one activates or deactivates the other. Mm-hmm. It's like, there's got to be something. And then when Scotty stabs Cheryl with the dagger, you think, oh, this has got to be the only thing that could actually kill the demon.
Yeah.
And, like, it looks like she's dying, because she does, like, she bursts into smoke and starts barfing up milk all over the place. And she's basically like the android at the end of Alien. Yeah.
I have my notes here in that scene is like, somebody is very lactose intolerant.
And it's like there's enough calcium in that hilt. Yeah, really. So, and then we get to see like cool things like blood pouring out of the hilt, like that's the thing, like it'll drain the demon essence, like
exactly.
That it's going to affect the demon more than as much or less than the body of its host. So then she dies. She collapses on the ground after like a big, oh, this is taking so frigging long, I am definitely dying thing. And then when he goes near her, she gets right back up again and starts like doing some weird janky walk towards him. And I'm like, what the fuck? Fuck this MacGuffin. That's what I have in this note. It's like, this is a big dagger, which looks so damn awesome. It should have some permanent effect. Either like release the demon, kill the demon, or exorcise the demon and like somehow not wound the host. Like, do something.
Apparently, that knife is not for killing these demons. It's for killing Jason Voorhees. Because that very same knife that was in the original Evil Dead is actually what ends up killing Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th. Jason Goes to Hell.
It takes the Kandarian dagger. That's the only thing. And if you read the chapter of the Necronomicon, it shows a picture of the knife being crafted by a bunch of sorcerers and blood mages to take on a demonic goalie 2,000 years in the future.
Exactly. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I had a couple of things about the knife, and that was one of them. I just had in my notes. So apparently this awesome looking knife is pretty much useless when it comes to fighting demons. That was a bit of a letdown. But also, in regards to the knife, my note right here is, nobody in this fucking movie knows how to use a knife.
Oh my god. It's like, that's the superpower of the Kandarian dagger. It's that it turns everyone into a retard when it comes to handling a knife.
Yeah. So, hey, Mike, if you're ever being attacked by a possessed person and you have a knife in your hand, the most effective method of killing this person would be to hug them, and then while you're hugging them, stab them in the back, pushing the blade towards yourself.
Yeah. Push the blade through them towards you while getting yourself well within biting distance.
Mm-hmm. Even the demons don't know how to use a knife.
Oh yeah, like that's why it's a superpower of the knife.
Because possessed Linda pulls a knife out of her own body. First of all, licks the blood off the blade, and she
grossly.
She licks it, and then it's like, it's so funny because.
And then she dwells on it.
I'm pretty sure that they did this. They took the first take of this scene. That's what they went with, because I don't think they could convince the actress to lick the blood off the knife anymore. Because you see her, she's like possessed. She's the one that turns into like what I have in my notes, the little girl demon.
Oh yeah.
Because she's the one that does the little chant, we're gonna get you. But anyway, she pulls a knife out of her body. She brings it up to her face and starts licking the blood. But you can honestly see the actress' reaction to either the taste of the blood or the taste of the blade. Because she almost stops for a second and then, like, kind of half-heartedly starts again.
Oh my god, it's like... Oh my god, it's... Oh.
But what really bugged me about this, I thought that was funny, but she's holding the knife by the handle instead of just coming after, like, it's only Ash and Scotty left. What does she do? She all of a sudden switches the knife over to the other hand so she can hold it by the blade.
Yeah. The least amount of grip, because as soon as she stabs something, her hand's just going to slide down it. Never mind the fact that she doesn't feel pain and that it won't bother her.
Hey, I'm a demon that just possessed a human, and the only way I can be stopped is by dismembering this person that I'm possessing. So I'm going to hold this sharp blade, hold on to this sharp blade and start swinging it around. Oh, that was so stupid. But yeah, it's. I think Ash he did something with a knife as well, didn't he? I think we were both talking about it, that he did the same thing.
Didn't he, like, go after Linda with it? Like, that's how she got the knife in the first place.
Yeah, you're right. But, yeah, so this sums it up. Like, that could be easily, my whole rant could easily be summed up in nobody knows how to use a knife in this movie.
So, any dislikes for you? Or any
yeah, this one, and this is not going to be a surprise to a lot of people, even, like, the extreme fans of the movie like I am. The acting in this was pretty rough. not exactly stellar performances from any of the cast. Bruce Campbell probably being the best, and I mean he's a guy that's made an acting career on being cheesy. I think the rest were like legit. They were legit. They were trying to be serious, but no, it doesn't come off very well. I mean,
I think there's a reason that we only know Bruce.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, not that they had like totally, it's not like this is the only thing they've done. They've all gone on to other things, but Bruce Campbell is much more well known than any of the others. And yeah, there's a reason.
Yeah, and there was things like another thing I didn't like was the headless, like when he fights Linda at her grave, and then he just takes off. It's like, well, let's see now. Her headless corpse was still attacking me, but instead of chopping up the body, I'm just going to take a breather and go inside with the other corpse that is likely to attack me any minute now. What about you? Any final dislike?
I'm trying to think. These are all the ones that I had written down, but I'm trying to think if there was something else that bothered me. Oh yeah, someone got raped by a tree. What the fuck?
I gotta wonder, was this scene the precursor and maybe even the inspiration for tentacle hentai?
Oh my god. That really bothered me because there's no need. It's just like, when I watched this movie again, like for the bazillion times, I watched it with I had the special edition. You should see this thing. The actual DVD case looks like the Necronomicon. But I did the commentary with Bruce Campbell, and he says during his commentary that during the first showing of this movie, they literally lost, like, most of the female audience walked out after that scene. Yeah, like, just wasn't necessary. No one else gets possessed that way, so it's not like, that's how the demons possess people.
It doesn't even serve a purpose in the narrative.
No.
Like, apparently you can get possessed by a stab in the ankle.
Yep.
So, I mean, you think, like, oh, it rapes her, and then she'll give birth to, like, some tree demon. Like, that would have been something. Like, throughout the course of the movie, her stomach just gets bigger and bigger, and then, boom, alien thing, but it's a twig monster with horns and flame, and then it, like, kills everyone inside. That would be something, like... It had no utility.
It's completely pointless.
I mean, like, if you're going to do something grotesque and gory, like, let it serve the narrative. This was just like, we're going to do it because we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's not a reason to do something like that. And, like, my final big dislike was the big death scene when Ash throws the Necronomicon in the fire. And, like, immediately the zombies, like, the ghouls stop attacking him. And they just fucking pause.
Yeah.
Like, they don't
freeze
even...
right there.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, even if the demons did leave them, you think they would just drop and be done. But no, then it turns into this claymation. It's like, the guys who did the California Raisins just thought, let's just take some LSD... and just go nuts for a night. And they produced this stuff that looked like oh my god, this death scene, it didn't even like serve any purpose. Like, you just think, oh, the demons leaving their bodies, that they would just drop dead and be like, well, they're free. But no, it's like they're doing the same gross shit, but then they start decomposing and then exploding, like covering everything in blood and gore. And I'm like, Is it really, like...
See, I love that scene. That's why I had this scene on my likes. I absolutely loved this ending. That's where we differ. Like, it is...
I know, I was expecting the big bad wolf to go like, little pig, let me in.
No, but as for the claymation, it looks like a Tool video, man. Is there some Tool like early '90s music videos like for Sober and Schism and stuff like that? And very much like I think it might have been inspired by this final scene. Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, I really like this scene. This was probably my favorite part after Ash gets just the crap beat out of him for like the last half hour of the movie. Then he finally figures out, burn the Necronomicon, which I don't know. I'm hoping that if I was in this situation, I would have thought of doing that first.
So the book barely even factors into it because they're not the ones reading the book when the evil, like I want to say gets unleashed, but it was already driving cars.
Yeah, but it goes back to the
So-
whole inconsistency thing, like I mentioned earlier.
So again, what did get released when the guy was just like reciting some shit? Like was it like it was already there and it's like, "Oh, now you made me angry." First I was just going to fuck with you while you were driving on the road, but now you said the words. It's like the evil's always there, like what. And then of course you burn the book thinking like, well, I guess it was like that's what anchored it to the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just starts like tearing Ash a new one right at the very end, and I'm like, okay, well now the evil's still there. Like it's a good ending, especially when it just cuts to that jazz music with the phonograph.
Yeah, I like that.
It was a great cutaway and a great like slam cut to the credits. But like narrative speaking, like what if like was the book just fucking with them? Like was the evil just fucking with you when it blew up those bodies on you? I bet if we kill his buddies, he'll think that that's what did it.
But do you see when the bodies started exploding? What was coming out was like a giant, like freaking set of monster hands.
Yeah, like you just thought like this is the demon itself being ripped out of them. Like,
Well, the first time I saw this, I thought like the whole body would just tear apart, and like what would be left would be these two huge, like physical demons standing there.
yeah, and then we just think like, oh shit, all he really did was like complete their transformation, their journey into this world. Like instead of just viewing the world through their eyes, now their bodies have made it through, and now we're really fucked.
I like to Ash's reaction after going through all this stuff. He's already like been beat to hell. He's covered in like every bodily fluid you could imagine, and then he gets all upset because like his when his sister's body falls over and splits apart, he gets all upset because it splattered some blood on him. He's already caked in blood and shit and everything.
But he's just thinking like, all this time he's managed to keep it out of his eyes.
Yeah.
Then the last one he's just like, oh frag, now it's in my eyes, and I can't even wipe it out with my hands because they're even dirtier. I'm just gonna have to blink this out.
Yeah. Oh my god. So, yeah, I did like the scene, but yeah, there's I guess like you said, it goes back to my dislike about there's a lot of inconsistencies in the movie. So
It makes no fucking sense. Like, are the demons coming out of them? Like, what the hell is the deal with those hands slashing their way out of the guts? Like, are demons using their corpses as a portal to enter our world, which would have been cool? Fuck
and
no.
Scotty's body, after the whole demon hand, Scotty's body turns into what looks like cockroaches and cream corn.
Yeah, and it even like changes from like green to blue to yellow.
Yeah.
It's like, oh great, now he's turned into like a
Well, he left the cream corn
a,
out, so it got moldy.
a stop motion animation with sand.
But yeah, so despite these things, like I mean, this is I think every horror movie has these things that like just doesn't make a lot of sense. But despite all that, well, actually, I should probably ask you before I end it on you. Was that everything for your dislikes?
Pretty much. Like, I've got some notes, but I wouldn't call them like, I don't think they're strong enough to be categorized as likes or dislikes.
Right. And that was pretty much it for me. So, like, despite some, obviously, some inconsistencies, some things that make you kind of go, what the fuck? Still top notch. It's in my top tier of horror movies for sure. And So, like we said earlier, this one. So, let me ask you this though. So, somebody asked you, should they watch Evil Dead? What are you going to tell them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like, yeah. Even if you had, don't even wait for them to ask. Just go up to a complete stranger and say, "Hey, have you seen Evil Dead?" You should.
Yeah, well, just tell them. I would give them the warning that there's going to be a tree rape scene, but it's not as bad as you think it's going to be.
I actually.
But it's still as needless as you think it is.
I actually watched this movie once. My sister came to when I was still living at my parents' house. My sister and her family came to visit, so my nieces were there, and they were like, I guess, like young teenagers at the time. And so they wanted to watch some horror movies. They were just starting to get into scary movies. So I was like, oh, I got a great one, Evil Dead. So let's put on Evil Dead, watching it. And then I realized, like, the freaking tree rape scene's coming up.
Oh, yeah, it's one of those cases where you just... That beautiful selective memory where you forgot that this thing you love has a very inexcusable, deplorable, or unforgivable moment in it.
This is what I did. I actually found the remote for the it was it was the VCR at the time. Found a remote and started like messing with it and said, "Oh, I think there must be something wrong with the tape. Let me see if I can fix this." And started playing around and actually just fast forwarded past that part and then played it again. It's like, "Oh, it seems to be working now."
Hopefully they distracted each other with talking and they weren't like, "Wait a second, did that tree just put a branch up her?" No, it didn't. You're wrong.
Nope.
Can we rewind it and see what it? No, bad tracking. The spot on the tape has bad tracking. It'll gum up the heads.
You had to explain to a kid now what tracking was.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Did I show my age there?
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh yeah. So I got like a little bit of like notes like where Scotty's just like, she's your girlfriend. You take care of her.
Oh, Scotty was such a piece of shit. Why were they friends with him?
Scotty, you prick. You got what you deserved.
Yep. Your eyes gouged out.
Yep. And then the knife licking was also gratuitous. Like, you just think, like, sweeping the knife across the tongue would be like, yeah, that's how you lick a blade. But no, she was treating it like a fucking ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just, like, lurking in one spot. And then, like, sliding back and forth. And then, like, tipping it all around. It's like, they must have, like, coated that in cocaine or something.
Yeah. Did you notice, and this is, I'm getting this straight from the Bruce Campbell's commentary. Did you notice that the length of Ash's hair changes a few times throughout the movie?
I was kind of focused on other things.
I didn't really notice it. It's not something I noticed until he actually said it. And so, even though this movie was released in 1981, they actually started filming in 1979. They got like all the actors and the crew involved, recorded everything. Then went back to put it into production, and sometimes they realized like, oh, this shot really didn't work out so well, so we have to refilm it. And of course, they didn't.
No continuity guys checking the footage to go, okay, in this scene you have, oh fuck, your hair's grown.
Yeah, so they had to reshoot some of it, getting some of like friends and family members to play some of the possessed people because with all the makeup and the prosthetics and everything, you couldn't really tell who was under there anyway.
Oh yes, the fake shemps.
Exactly, and so yeah, they had to go reshoot. Sometimes even Sam Raimi and his little brother were the ones dressed in as the possessed, the Deadites, and. They had to reshoot stuff, so they were just like, Bruce Campbell said, all of a sudden you get a call from Sam. It's like, oh, we got to reshoot this scene, where Cheryl's grabbing you from the cellar. And so they, had to go recreate a wall in Sam Raimi's garage to make it look like the cabin. And reshoot this. And so Bruce Campbell saying, like, yeah, it's like only after the finished product put together, he sees, like, his hair is short, then it's long, then it's short again. They'd forget to put a scar or a bruise or something on his face that was there in the original shot. So you see some of his wounds moving around his face or disappear completely during some scenes.
Oh, and like one thing I sent to you was like at one point where he's like pinned against the door, his face is fine, and then in a close up he's got like carrot lipstick going on.
Yeah, like bright orange lipstick.
And then in the very next, like as soon as it cuts away, his lips are fine. His lips are like regular color again.
Yeah, and so yeah, there's a lot of things like that. He told an awesome story about like all the fake blood. Because the fake blood, of course, is mostly the main ingredient is corn syrup. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine what kind of a sticky mess this stuff is.
Oh yeah.
So he said they stopped filming one night and he was just covered in blood. So for some reason he thought that if he took off his shirt and hung it over the chair next to his space heater, for some reason that would dry up the blood, and so it would be, when he has to put it back on, it won't be quite so sticky. So the next day when they're ready to film, he goes and grabs his shirt to put it on and drops it, and his shirt literally shattered on the floor like it was made of glass. It had just completely crystallized. And so then they had to actually go out and like find another shirt that matched the one that he was wearing throughout the movie.
It's shirted.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. So yeah, just a few things about that. Like, really, after you've seen this movie, if you haven't watched it already, you're watching it for the first time, watch it again with Bruce Campbell's commentary, because it's entertaining on its own. You could just listen to him talk about all the stuff that's going on, how many injuries he got because, he did a lot of stunts by himself, just would basically run across a room and launch himself into like whatever piece of furniture happened to be there, whether it was a chair, table, a bookshelf, whatever.
Oh yeah, there's like at the end of the movie when Ash is thrown into the couch, I just like thought there's no more bookcases for him to be thrown into. They're all shattered. So now all he's got left to be thrown into is the couch, knocking poor Scotty's corpse off of it.
Yeah, like I could keep going on. There's so much about this movie. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, spawned 2 sequels and a remake, which each one is definitely worthy of its own episode, so we're not going to mention them right now. But I do want to talk about one thing, and this made me happy to no end. Like, it's been over a year, actually almost 2 years now since we first saw it, but Ash vs. the Evil Dead TV show. Oh my god, how fucking happy was I to hear this announcement. I actually got to hear the announcement on the same day that I met Bruce Campbell, that this thing was going to be made. And they nailed it. Like, it is the Evil Dead. Like, they captured everything perfectly. So, I don't know, have you been watching it?
Oh, I've watched the first season. I was just waiting for the second season to be done, and then I can...
You're going to binge it?
Oh, yeah.
But it's worthwhile. And some of the... Bruce Campbell is back as Ash, and it is awesome. Just coming back as an old Ash, wearing a girdle, has dentures, living in a trailer park.
It is fantastic. And then to show, like, he still hasn't lost his edge. Like, he's got it... In the first episode, he's got a chainsaw... Or was it a shotgun? Trapped
in the floor.
Trapped in a springboard in the floor.
Yeah. Like in the floor of his trailer, like a spring-loaded shotgun. So he just like hits like a little button on it, stomps on a spot on the floor, and it just springs up.
Which makes you wonder, like, has he been fighting it for 30 years, or did he like just like when he got back from the land of King Arthur? Which did he ever talk about? Oh yeah, by the way, these screwheads also sent me back in time. It's like I remember them talking about like Linda being knocked around in the cabin, but was there any Army of Darkness references?
No, I don't think they could get. I think it's one of those weird things where they couldn't actually get the rights to it.
Weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was great. And then like Lucy Lawless, still fucking hot. Like, I think she's hotter now than when she was Xena.
Yeah, she still looks good. But yeah, it's just I hope the show never ends. Like it was great. I was wondering. I was a little scared. Like, I always am when something that is being remade, or like, you know, they're bringing it back like a continuation, I'm always wondering, is this going to be any good, or is it just going to fall flat?
Yeah, is it going to try to live up to something that it, like, is it going to try to live up to the idea it thinks that people love it for, and completely miss the point? Like, try to cash in on the name, or no, but by keeping the same crew that was in it to just do it again was fucking kismet.
Yep. And yeah, just it's just a great show. Like, if you're an Evil Dead fan, like, you are going to love this show. Seriously.
And
highlight for the show for me so far is like pretty much every fucking kill that happens in the show, because everyone is one of the goriest things I've ever seen.
it is splatterific.
Oh my god, so good. And you know, it does have some CGI, unlike the original Evil Dead movies. It does have some CGI into it, and I mean, this day and age, it's pretty much impossible to not have any CGI. Like, there's some things it comes down to a cost point and like some smaller effects, but there's still a lot of practical effects. Like, Sam Raimi is still in love with his practical effects, does a great job on it, and yeah, just terrific. It's like I said, it is the Evil Dead. There's no other way to describe it.
Oh, and like, there's a nice little side point when in the beginning, when we first see Ash pull into the biker bar, he drives in, like, just guns it in, and does the TJ Hooker power slide in the parking lot, and that's really Bruce doing it. And do you know who instructed him on how to do it?
I don't remember, because I think it might have been on
William
Nerdist. I heard
Shatner himself.
Yes, you're right.
He asked, because he thought, like, William Shatner's probably heard all these amazing, like, all these questions. Like when he got to meet William Shatner, he just thought everyone's asking him all these stupid questions, like, what was Captain Kirk like? What would Kirk do if he saw this? What would Kirk do if he saw that? So he goes, like, what can I do to ask him that he's never heard before, or at least gets away from Star Trek? And he said, I was stuck for a question, but as soon as I got to him and it was my turn to talk to him, he's just like, oh, hi. And I was just like, how did you, like, you did that TJ Hooker power slide yourself, because it was all done in one take, and you got out of the car, so it wasn't a stunt driver. How did you do it? And he describes the maneuver, and he goes, he took that, kept on repeating it to himself, writing it down, and then actually did it. And then he goes, as soon as I get a chance in a movie or a show, I'm doing that. And when they said Evil Dead, we're doing it, he goes, first thing I'm doing is the TJ Hooker power slide. And Sam's just like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that is great. So, Mike, now, even though the cast of characters in this movie, it was huge. It was 5 people in total.
Yeah.
You still, for this next part, you still had a little bit of a challenge, I'm willing to bet.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of gratuity, but I still managed to pick my kill of the week.
Oh, can't wait. I want to really want to know which one you picked.
The kill was, usually in the movies, kills are instant, but the one I liked was the slow one with Scotty. Because when,
yes.
like, again, he sees bones sticking out of his body, and he's saying, like, come on, Scotty, you're just fine. We just gotta get a little nap, and we'll take you to the hospital. But the scene in particular that made the kill of the week was when he's done dealing with Linda outside, and he gets Scotty a glass of water, and he pours it in his mouth, and he's just, like, looking around, like, clearly the stress has gotten to him. He's not even acknowledging that Scotty's not, like, putting his lips up to the glass. He's not swallowing anything. All the water's going down in his face. And Ash is just talking about how, we're going to get out of here. We made it. We just got to wait for the sun to come up, and we're going to be okay. And it just shows that, like, whether he knows or he doesn't, or he does know and he's just not willing to accept, at this point, Scotty is already dead. And only at the end, when he's done with the water, does he actually, like, snap out of it and, see the reality that Scotty hasn't taken any water because he's already passed on.
Mm-hmm.
It was just good acting from Bruce. Like, there's some cheesy acting in here, but that was a case of great acting, where you can just see this guy who can't come to grips with the fact that all of his friends are dead. He still thinks that there's one left. And only at the end does it start to hit him like, no, you're alone, and you have been for quite some time.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good one. Very interesting that your kill of the week was a kill that you didn't even really see.
Yeah, it was like a long kill. And
well, you didn't see the cause of it anyway. I mean, you know what the cause is, but you didn't see it actually happen.
I know, and that's the one we would probably want to see get sodomized. Not poor Cheryl.
He deserved it.
I mean, all she did was go into the woods and say, I can hear you, and I guess the woods was just like, no, you didn't. Yes, I did.
If there was anybody that deserved to get sexually assaulted by a tree, it was that guy.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, well, that's all the Evil Dead content we have right now, but we do have something I want to bring up. Mike, we got a question from a fan of the show on Facebook. And even though we answered on Facebook, I think, not all of our listeners are part of the Facebook group, so I think we should answer it on the actual episode.
Okay, ask away.
So, Mandy J, she writes in and says, "Hi guys, enjoying the show, which is cool for two reasons. One, because this is the first podcast I've subscribed to. Hey,
Ooh.
All right.
Don't worry, girl. We'll be gentle.
And two, because I'm not traditionally a horror fan." Oh, that's actually pretty cool. That we're a first podcast, and she's not even a horror fan, but
wow.
I guess we have some entertainment value there.
We get deaf people liking my Playing with Power podcast, and now people that aren't even horror fans aren't taking on this thing. This is the beauty of getting into podcasting. You get unexpected fans.
Mm-hmm. So she said, "One thing I always wondered about horror fans was whether they loved the jump factor more or the gore, and why. I am more of a fright person myself. If it's just gory, i.e. the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I won't bother watching it. Personally, I prefer to get a fright opposed to being grossed out and on the verge of puking. What about you guys?" So, I'm good with either. Like, I am a gore hound. I like seeing some gore. If I'm going to watch a horror movie, I want to get scared. So if I've got to choose one or the other, I prefer the scare factor more than the gore. But, my favorites are like Evil Dead. It's going to be a combination of both.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a contrarian. I'm just going to say the same, like moderation with both. Like, there's got to be like one movie where like you can't just be like constantly, oh, you can hear the music coming to a crescendo and pop. Like, you can't keep doing that. But you got to have one or two of those. Like, and then with gore, like, how much blood is there in one corpse? You can't be too gratuitous. I mean, like, we've seen the end of Evil Dead where people like turn into a fucking serial killer video. And it is like, at one point it's like just taking me out of the movie, like, just fucking die and be on with it. Like, let's get to the credits. So gore is great in certain parts. Like, you need
gore
something. You need something to shock you, even when you're looking at it and you know what to expect.
Yeah, gore is great, but I don't want to see, like, there's some movies out there that's just, the whole thing is just how gross can we make this look? How stomach churning can we do this? And I'm not interested in that at all.
Yeah,
I appreciate gore. I appreciate good gore effects, but if it doesn't have a good story, then it means nothing. All right, cool. That's actually a really good question. Thank you very much for that, Mandy. And now, Mike, I do have a couple of housekeeping things I need to bring up. Because over this past week, I decided to go back and listen to all of our past episodes. I'm just realizing this is episode 7 now. We actually you could listen to us every day of the week and have enough of our episodes to last you through it the whole week. That's pretty cool. A couple of things I want to address, because in our very first episode at the end, I mentioned about our logo that it was made by Jeff Newhook, and so I got that right. But and thank you very much for that, Jeff. Jeff is a friend of mine, and when we first started the show, I said that we need to get a logo, and he's like, well, what are you looking for? And I told him, gave him like a brief description of what we'd like to have, and next day he sent us this logo and said, there you go. And that was awesome. Now, when it came to the theme song, I wanted to credit the where we got the theme song, and I said, yeah, thanks to axtech.com for the theme song, and I'm an idiot because, and you know, a month later I'm realizing it is not Axtech, it is called TechnoAxe.
TechnoAxe?
TechnoAxe.com did our theme song. They've got a great site for royalty-free music. Just go on and search TechnoAxe, which is spelled Teknoaxe. And they have lots of royalty-free music on there. Some great stuff. Whatever type of theme you're looking for, you search it and you'll find it.
Sweet. Have you told them about the show?
Not yet. I really should send a message and say that, you know, we've used one of their songs in the show, and you should check it out. And the other thing that I wanted to mention was that when we did episode 3, when we covered An American Werewolf in London, we had a skit where we were pretending to be the director and producer. We were auditioning some actors that couldn't do British accents. Mm-hmm. We actually had a couple of people help us out with that, and I had in my notes to mention it at the end of the show, and I'm an idiot and totally forgot. My lovely wife, Annetta, and my awesome stepson, Jonah, provided some additional voices for the skit, and thank you guys very much for that. It was rushed, and they helped us out. Very much appreciate it, and apparently we got some comments about that skit. A lot of people were liking it, so thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Cool.
Okay, Mike, anything you want to bring up?
No, I'm pretty good at just letting everybody know that if, you know, you like video games as well as horror movies, I do a podcast, Playing with Power. We read Nintendo Power Magazine. Me and 2 buddies, we just read each issue and usually take cheap jokes at each other, tell hilarious stories. It's like half tangent and half actually reading the damn magazine. We reminisce about video games of the past and crack vulgar, terrible, awful jokes. And then an episode or 2 has Sheldon on them.
Yeah. Your best episodes, in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah, and that's the Playing with Power podcast. So make sure to look for that on iTunes and like facebook.com/playingwithpowerpodcast and playingwithpowerpodcast.com.
That's right. If you're a fan of retro video games and the old Nintendo Power Magazine, and especially if you're a fan of like the raunchiest humor you can imagine, then you'd love it. And so if you would like to contact us, we love hearing from you. Like, we are so happy about the response we've been getting. We've got so many movie suggestions. People are asking us questions on our social media pages, and we love it. We always want to hear from you guys, whether it's a movie suggestion, comments, critiques. If you just want to say hi, whatever it is, please do. And there's several ways you can do it. You can email us at graveyardshiftpod@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on Twitter at GYS_horrorpod. And on Facebook, just search at The Graveyard Shift Pod, and you should find us. If you'd like to support the show financially, if you actually have the money to give us some money, then you can do that by going on to www.patreon.com/graveyard. For as little as $1 a month, you help support the show, make sure that our costs are covered, that we can keep doing this thing. And not only that, you get access to some pretty awesome Patreon bonuses. We've got a couple of Patreon exclusive bonuses right now, including extended coverage of our pilot episode. It was first when we started off doing this, and we weren't quite sure what type of format the show was going to take. So basically, we watched that first movie, which was Fright Night from 1986, and we just started talking about every single scene in detail, and then realized, hey, we've been recording for about 2.5 hours. We should probably shorten this up. So you get to hear lots of details, and then we also have up there our top 10 picks. We took we broke horror down basically into 10 subcategories and picked our favorite one from each of the subcategory that's on there right now. And we've got something else coming pretty soon. We're working on a extended Shining episode. We covered The Shining in episode 5, and we've got lots more to talk about, plus some extra stuff about The Shining, because once again, it's one of these movies that there's so much to talk about, and it's impossible to cram in everything into 1 hour. So yeah, we're going to get that finished soon, so enjoy that. And really, even if you want to make a one-time donation, with Patreon, you do have to sign up, make a Patreon account. But if you just want to make a one-time donation, you don't want to keep it going, you can just do that one donation and then just cancel your account afterwards.
Yeah, like, you could send it through PayPal, but there's no way to get rewards to you.
Yeah,
so Patreon,
if you don't care about the rewards and you just want, you can actually make a donation through PayPal. Just go on to PayPal, search our email address. Once again, it's graveyardshiftpod@gmail.com. You can make a donation that way, but why go through all that trouble when you can just do it on Patreon and get some delicious bonuses?
Yeah, you don't get charged per month if you're not subscribing to anything.
Yeah.
Or, like, there's no, like, minimum requirements for, like, you're supposed to support, like, 3 people or anything. Like, no, like, support 0 people, but 1 people, 2 people. And it's just there's no extra charges.
And everything we collect through Patreon goes to the show, like, where it just goes to help with the costs of running the show and producing it. If we manage to reach certain levels, we're going to do some other stuff. Like we said that once we reach a certain level, we're going to use it to attend some horror type events and possibly do some live shows from those events. We like to get some merchandise made up so that we can have some giveaways to our Patreon donors. We're talking about things like hats, t-shirts, stickers, things like that. And
Patreon is the way that we can give back to you. So it's worth the 5 minutes of slight hindrance to set up a credit card.
If you have an email address, you can easily create a Patreon account. It's no different than creating any type of other social media account. It literally takes a moment to do it. You create a login name, which is just going to be your email address, and you create a password.
Well, you also have to set up your PayPal to facilitate payments or a credit card or something, but...
Well, yeah, like just enter the credit card information
so
on PayPal,
2 minutes.
however you want to divert the funds.
And
it's very simple.
2 minutes, one time, and then you will get hours of entertainment a month from us as a thank you for your support.
We're even making a commitment here if at a certain level of Patreon donations, we might even make this do I dare even say it, Mike? We might even make this a 2-episode-a-week show.
Hey, if there's enough going on where I don't have to spend a part of a week looking for work or working, then absolutely, my time can be bought.
You have no idea how much of Mike's time can be bought, people. So, with that out of the way, normally this is where we talk about what our next episode is going to be, but as of right now, we've got lots of episodes. We've got so many suggestions. I think we said the other day that right now we could go on with 14 episodes without having to get another suggestion or to come up with a movie by ourselves, but we've got something coming up. Hopefully next week we can get this to work out that's going to take up our episode that we really can't talk about what it is just yet. It's a little bit of a secret, but if we can get this done, it's going to be awesome. You guys are really going to like that episode. And if we can't, then if we don't get it done in time, then we'll just announce it at the start of the episode what we're covering. It'll be a surprise. Everyone likes a surprise every now and again, right?
Hey, consider it our jump scare.
There you go. Until next time, I'm Sheldon.
I'm Mike.
And thank you for joining us on The Graveyard Shift. So, with that being said, that's all of our... Let's just cut that out because I sound like I was coughing up a hairball.